So I didn't plan ahead for a funny opening bit this time. So
damn, what are we gonna do about your funny opening bits?
oh, I got an idea.
Okay.
Jump scare.
SpongeBob, Johnny Bravo kicking by the beach bar. DJ making me feel like a big star.
You gotta warn someone like something like that. Jesus! I gotta turn my heater off. Fuck, it's gonna ruin my audio quality.
My air conditioner's on. I'm going to choose to leave it on this time because it is
okay.
It is like 95 degrees outside and I'm dying. So
all right, I'll just stay cold then. Yeah. It's so cold in Australia.
Honestly, I didn't even hear your heater. I mean, frankly, the background music usually kind of drowns a lot of that
when we include it.
Yeah. So,
Mr. Mr. Has Been Normal. It's good to see you again.
Mr. Has Been.
Mr. Has Been. Mr. Has Been Simpin. How are you?
I'm simping. Like
sipping on that straight lean. Oh, he's going. Oh, he's got Red Bull this time. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, fuck. It almost went up my nose. Excuse me while I die.
Listen, you don't need to snort the energy drink. All right, it gets into your system one way or another.
Red Bull gives you wings. Anyways,
Mr. Has Been Normal. You doing all right?
I've been working away on YouTube videos and such.
Hell yeah! And you still having your busy period with work?
I'm having my period. Yeah, I'm having my period.
Busy period.
I'm PMSing right now. Actually, now that you mention it.
No, with work.
It slowed down at work. But yeah, just trying to get this video done, and all the technical issues that I've been having have been very frustrating. So, but you put out a new video, and again, and it's done pretty well again.
Yeah, it's tracking similar speed to the other one, so I'm pretty happy with it.
It went a little bit faster, I would say, as far as like just consistently.
We were chatting like the first 2 days that video came out. We were like, oh, what's like the first one, the Nickelodeon, the first inquiry we did, and you're like, oh, it's doing pretty well. It's like 800 views. And I was like, I spent like 3 weeks on that video. I'm pissed.
I mean, fair enough. I was, well, that to me, like usually my stuff takes forever to grow, and I think partially that's because my videos are always like an hour plus long, and it seems like, you know, each of these podcast episodes, it's like we're lucky to get like a 500. We're lucky to hit 500 on these just because
it's the medium, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know, but so it looked good to me. I was like, yeah, it's pretty fast, because usually when I post a video, it's like it's just a waiting game. But for the last two that you've done, I mean, it gets up to 1,000 pretty quickly at least, and now we're, I mean, I don't even know what the Truth or Square one is at now, but regrets is
I have the channel open. I need my bloody glasses. It's 40 something. Yes, literally, it's right here, and I can't say. Pull my little
40,000.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because your videos seem to be very dependent on outside events, like your Piglet video, or
that one like, specifically.
The world changes a little bit, and
that video sat there on my channel. It did all right, and it did what I expected it to do. Like over time, like it got up to like probably about 6,000, and then all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, what is this freaking Piglet game?" And then it exploded. So like usually mine just happen when I blow up. It's usually not because of the algorithm. It's because someone finds the video and starts sharing it.
So I'm just looking at my video. Am I out of focus slightly?
It's hard for me to tell because of the connection, but maybe slightly.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I was talking to my wife because you're working on this big video. What's the hour? What's like the time of this video now? How long is it?
For the big video, I don't know.
Big
I
video.
haven't been working on that one as much because I put all my focus on getting this smaller one done for this channel. Because I'd like to. How I'm doing it now, I would probably need to put out multiple smaller videos here before I finish that one, and so I've shifted focus a little bit. Not that
It also builds a bit of hype. It builds a bit of like it was a bigger video with more stuff in it. But I was talking to her about it, and she was like, "Why does it take Who's Normal so long to do like these different videos?" Because I showed her your channel, and there was like a handful of them. I was like, "It's because he's like the breaking news guy. Like, there was no information about this stuff before him. He's the one that actually does work. I go to Wikipedia."
Listen, I was gonna look in the camera and say procrastination is the real answer.
Oh, okay.
Also, I'm notorious at procrastination, but also, research takes time. Sometimes I'm waiting on things, but the real answer is just because I'm slow and I lose motivation or energy, and I'm like, or life stuff happens. Like, I mean, early on, in 2019. Things were good, and I was churning videos out, and then I got hit with a health diagnosis, and I was like, fuck. And then I took a while to get back on track there, and then just more life stuff kept happening. So sometimes it's out of your control, especially when it's a hobby.
It's one of those things that's like Stephen King always talks about like writing a certain amount each day, writing 3 or 4 hours a day and trying to get 6 pages a day, which is amazing because it's like, if you go by that approach, you can have a manuscript done in 3 months. Like, you can have a huge, like 600, 700 page manuscript done in a matter of months, and then editing that, you can have a book done in 6 months.
Talk about procrastination. I've had a book idea for the better part of a decade now, and I haven't even. Well, it's moved. First, it was a cartoon idea, and then it turned into a book idea because I'll never be able to make a cartoon.
Listen, dude. No, listen. That's the point of this channel. As soon as my book is done, which it is, it's on its final draft. I'm just going through like the printing process. All this channel is to me is a way to advertise that book. So when you get your book done, we're gonna have so many ad spots of just like, hey guys, hey guys, this is
listen, guys.
Book.
We're gonna put out channel membership. We're gonna do Patreon. Buy the merch. I want to quit my day job, please. No.
All our money will just funnel into you. It's like,
who
needs Normal's quit?
Fine.
Chester's still working. Who needs Normal's done?
Your day job.
My day job's fun. So
I was gonna say you have a fun day job. I don't enjoy my day job.
I had one client. So today's Sunday. I had a client in yesterday, and they ran so far over time. I was out for dinner with my wife. And I was like, I don't need to work the rest of the week. I could cancel the rest of the recordings I have this week because that one person went 4 hours overtime with the amount I charged them. It's like,
I don't even know how your business model works. This is a conversation we haven't.
So it's dependent on the person. So what has been really interesting is last year I was in a huge factory. So I was renting a huge factory. It was 2 stories. I had 3 huge sets that were like the size of like a full room with couches, microphones, all that. And I had an office upstairs that was for me and my editor. And so we would tag team stuff. Really slow. So we were just managing to kind of make ends meet. Like, I didn't earn anything for that year, basically. So I was having to do side work.
That kind of business, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and that was because I took on an editor because I really, he was really keen for it. And he's the type of person that, something you learn very quickly with business stuff is he had no skills in it. But he was the type of person that you knew if you ever stepped away, they could run the business. If you equipped them, they were the most practical, the most hardworking, the most committed person. You could 100% leave everything in their hands. If you taught them how to do it, they would do it flawlessly. Right. They wouldn't be someone you'd be like, oh, they're actually doing work while I'm out type of thing. he would be the person that I need to call him to tell him to have a break, type of thing.
Right.
So that was the reason why I brought him on. So really slow, and also in Australia we were going through it was called basically a silent recession. So no one admitted it, but we were absolutely going through a recession. This year, companies are doing way better. So I've been in contact with way more. Literally, so I've been running since March because I had to move the business here. Since March, we've done more business than we did in the entirety of last year. And what it is so people contact me and like, I've got an idea for a podcast, I've got an interview I need to do, I've got like an intro segment or something I need to do. We work out the kind of style, and we, rather than having multiple sets now, we have one that's like customizable. So you can change the vibe of it, change the decorations and all that. Mm-hmm. Sort it out for them, they come in, they record, depending on their budget and depending on the type of thing they are, I up and down the price. So if they're an individual, I do it for quite cheap because I want to work with individuals, I want to do cool stuff. But then if it's a social media manager that emails me, I immediately am like adding on an extra zero for everything, because it's just like, if they can afford a social media manager, they can afford to pay me.
$50,000.
So yeah, and so then they come in, and sometimes I do the editing for them, sometimes I don't. The biggest thing is handing off these huge files. So they're like 50 gigabyte video files, 10 gigabit audio files.
Well, that was the other thing I noticed. You know, with these technical issues I've been having, I don't know why, but the file sizes for like 10 minutes is huge, and I don't know what's causing that exactly. But
I have noticed that as well. I've been having to delete heaps of like old OBS recording, not old, but like OBS recordings.
It is OBS that I've been using too, so maybe it's something with OBS. I'll have to look into my settings.
It used to be a thing that OBS, the point of OBS was it was super compact and super efficient. And so you would come out of it with a recording that's under a gigabyte for an hour or something like that. So it made like a lot of sense to use. Nowadays, I'm not so sure.
Well, I'm thinking I'm going to have to, when I record the video itself, just record it from the camera rather than recording it from OBS because of all these issues I'm having. But yeah, that sounds. Fly me out there. I'll work for you. No.
Well, it's good enough fun, and I do the writing on the side, so the book's done as well, which is really exciting. I'm just working out the final go through, just checking over everything and getting the stuff made. What are you talking about on the waiting for people stuff though? Because you're always waiting for replies from like people. I have been waiting for 3 weeks for replies from artists for book cover stuff. For
we talked about some
the next ones I'm
last
doing.
Week.
I'm still waiting for them, and I'm like, I am desperate. I will not use AI art. I will never use AI art. I have contacted so many artists. I've literally just asked them, like, this is the idea. How much can I pay you? I will pay whatever it is. Like, I will pay like whatever you want for this. And literally none of them answer me back. I've contacted like 8 people so far. Of just artists I've like hunted down from like Pinterest where they're not being credited.
They think you're a scammer.
Maybe, because I was just like, I want to use actual artists, please.
Speaking of which, do we want to quickly go back to the AI art conversation, because I saw an interesting announcement today that made me scoff a bit from Mr. Beast. Has launched a
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. I don't know all the details. I didn't look into it deep enough to be like, oh, this is the report. But he was basically advertising this thing that he's made, apparently, where AI makes your thumbnail. But he was like saying it can recreate thumbnails that look like all your favorite creators or whatever, and like flashed all these logos on the screen of like different channels, including like Jacksepticeye, and Jacksepticeye was pissed about it. He was like, how dare he use my logo to advertise this shit? And it basically just saying like you can even take thumbnails from people and have it put you on their face or whatever. And that's hilarious, because like years ago he was complaining about how a big Russia creator literally all his thumbnails were just Mr. Beast thumbnails with the faces swapped out.
Yeah.
Whereas now he's selling a service that does this for you.
I feel like he's trying to just speedrun being the most disliked person on, like...
You sure he's certainly
internet.
speedrunning corporate greed, that much is clear, but...
I just... Because, you know, I'll freely admit, I was a huge, and still am, a huge PewDiePie fan. Loved him. I loved that whole era. So him, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, I watched them all, loved them all. And then when I got a bit older, I stuck with PewDiePie because he was still doing stuff that was like interesting other than just like the gaming stuff.
Changed it. I mean, I never really had a PewDiePie phase necessarily. I watched him pretty consistently there for a few years when he was like sitting on the floor calling himself Floor Gang or whatever.
Yeah.
And now he posts, but it's mostly like
The vlogs,
vlog types of stuff, and so that's not really
yeah
anything I'm interested in. But yeah,
I still watch them every now and again because me and my wife are considering moving to Japan. So we just watch them for the sake of like understanding it. It's not like I'm any further away.
Right. It's literally the same side of the country, so. Or the same side of the world, rather.
We were tossing it up, but yeah, real life stuff is hard to manage with aging parents and all that. We're like, oh, I should probably be around, and you know, siblings with kids. We're like, I should probably be around, but
PewDiePie AI.
He was still trying very hard to be. He never liked being the face of YouTube, which is what YouTube was really pushing for him to be until he went through like his controversies. But he was very focused on maintaining a good standing because the media was always quite harsh on him and attacking him, and he'd always be defending himself because like even though I don't like it, I do represent this platform and I'm going to try and represent it really well. And now we live in the age of kick streamers going and like abusing people in different countries and all this type of shit. And then you have the face of YouTube, which is Mr. Beast, doing all this stuff. It's like, yep,
sounds about right.
Different. It's a bit of a different world. I honestly, I have no YouTube community anymore. There's no specific place that I watch content for anymore. I very much use YouTube as a tool now. It's not. Yeah.
I don't know.
Makes me sad.
I mean, there are plenty of creators I watch, but I'm not really in a community necessarily. But
except for the Bikini Bottom Inquirer community.
Yeah.
The strongest community.
Yeah. It definitely exists.
It does.
The Discord's full.
It's got you and me in it.
I saw a comment that said Bikini Bottom Inquirer is my white boy of the month or something like that. I was thinking, which one?
You have to specify. You have to specify.
People don't know I exist.
This also continues the trend of people thinking that my name is CMB. CMB Extras.
CMB Extra. Yeah, I noticed that as well because that's just people.
I say that. Chester in every single video. Hey guys, Chester here.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily set out to go by Who Needs Normal, but that was my channel name, so that's
your title, please.
And now it's on my arm, so.
You have a Who Needs Normal tattoo?
Yeah. You designed it too. That's crazy.
Is that a real one? You put the. What if you change your logo?
It will always be in. I've thought about that, and I would just think it'll always be in my heart. The logo that you made for me will always. I've had this for years, and I remember I got a temporary one. You're like, holy shit! I wish you shouldn't have done that. And I was like, oh, it's just temporary. And then I got it for real, and I was like, I'm not gonna tell him.
When did you do that?
Oh, geez. 3 years ago-ish? Something like that.
I was thinking when we get big enough, we should go to war against the no question mark Who Needs Normal. We should, I don't even know if
he like truly uses, like I've checked in on that and they haven't posted. he clearly used to go by a different name. I think he just changed his name to something else because there's the grifters that are just looking for something that's gonna blow up, and I think that he was like, this is a place for the weirdos, blah 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 blah, who needs normal. And then I remember I commented, I was like, why are you trying to steal my name? And that comment is not there anymore, so I don't know if that...
He was like, damn, this guy took down the Russians. I can't be with him. I can't mess with him. He's coming for me.
Anyways, speaking of taking down the Russians,
let's take down the Russian killer.
Speaking of Russians, SpongeBob. Let's talk about my theory about how SpongeBob is secretly a Russian spy.
Yeah. I think one of the earliest videos I have ever watched, like on YouTube. So this was in like the Peanut Butter Gamer stage. Let me see if it's still around. It's probably been swept away by, decades and decades of people like posting other stuff. No, it's still here. 900,000 views by Lawful Minion from 12 years ago. Top 5 SpongeBob games.
Does he look like a yellow minion?
No, he looks like he's stolen like an 8-bit like a 8-bit figure from some video game or something. So he made a video of the top 5 SpongeBob games, and this was like the birth of the SpongeBob community era. This was early Lamb Hoot. This was all that type of stuff. And he made a list of these games that I think is still, I would consider to be pretty controversial. So this was one of the first things that I ever watched. So top 5, number 5 was, let me just pull it up, Lights, Camera, Pants. Do you think that's a debatable thing? Out of all SpongeBob games, number 5, Lights, Camera, Pants.
I mean, out of my favorites, sure, why not? I mean, that feels about right to me, I guess.
Yep. Number 4, the movie game.
I'll reserve judgment until I hear the rest of the options.
And let me just say, so this was 12 years ago. This was the setting of the standard of the debate. This was so early on, there wasn't like a consensus of Bikini Bottom is the best, movie game number 2, so on. So like, this was like the setting of the actual standard. This was the first big video that was like, I'm laying this out.
Years and years before YouTube communities were cultivated, there was still kind of this general consensus that Battle for Bikini Bottom was up there. I don't know why I have that vibe. I just feel like when I talk to people, like on the schoolyard or whatever, I don't know. I just felt like that was always considered top tier for whatever reason.
I guess it's different for America as well. America would probably have a bit more insular of that. But literally, this video was the video I found out that Battle for Bikini Bottom existed.
Right, because you didn't play it growing up.
Number 3, Creature from the Krusty Krab.
I don't like that one.
Interesting choice.
I agree.
Number two, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah,
This was so early on. This was before the hate train for Revenge of the Flying Dutchman started.
You just triggered a crazy memory in my mind. So, what grade would it have been? 2nd, 3rd grade or something during the summer. My parents signed me up for a web design class. And like when we got to the point where we were making our websites, the instructor paired us all up, and I got paired up with this kid, and we decided our website was going to be about video games, like our favorite video games and stuff. And so this was like, I mean, I was at the height of like my SpongeBob loving self at this point, and the kid ended up being sick the day we actually had to do the brunt of the work, and so the website just became my website, and just SpongeBob games. That's all I put on there. It was just SpongeBob stuff, and I specifically remember typing out this line, SpongeBob games are famous or something like that, and just finding all these random PNGs from the actual SpongeBob website and putting them on my website, and all these screenshots, and specifically Revenge of the Flying Dutchman was the one I was highlighting because that was my favorite one at that point, even at that point. And I remember later, like at the end, this was like a week-long thing, so it wasn't very long. And then like at the end of the week, the kid comes back, and I don't remember what the conversation was, but he makes some comment about how he's like, yeah, you freaking ruined our website with SpongeBob or something, or just destroyed our website with SpongeBob. And I was just thinking, well, yeah, duh, they're the best games. Like, you weren't here, buddy.
You don't get to call these shots. And then obviously number one is Bikini Bottom as well. Bikini Bottom is number one in this list as well. So obviously, that'd be like the equivalent of now, like someone turning up and like, you ruined our website with all these deep fried memes. Stop it! Wait, it's just a funny type of meme format. There's nothing wrong with a deep fried meme.
That is surprising that someone would, even back then, would put Revenge of the Flying Dutchman up that high, just because I feel like the discourse was always pretty negative when I looked online. Because once we got a computer, I did end up looking it up and finding out, oh, people hate this game, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, when was it part of the YouTube era, like with Lambhoot and all that, where you had the spreading of the misinformation about the crashes and all that more, or was that already happening in like?
I think that was already
boards?
I think that was a discussion, like just around. Like I think people probably talked about it on forums and stuff. It just seemed like, and it could be that, I mean, obviously Lambhoot added to the discussion.
Yeah, a bit of fuel to that fire.
Which I didn't even know who the man was until after I already put out my video, and everyone was all like, Lambhoot this, Lambhoot that, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, I did a podcast with him back in the day, and Bobby Broccoli.
You know him?
And it's so funny. Well, what I would do is when I was first making stuff, we were like I think I had them on Skype as well. And so I would just be messaging them for like advice and stuff. And I would send videos to them to get like their verdict on it and for them to give me feedback on how I could make stuff better. And what's so funny is Bobby Broccoli is like huge now for doing like these bizarro like engineering and history based videos. It's insane. Like his stuff is like crazy and that stuff. I was like, that's a very different space to where I imagined. But because him and Lambhoot were both training as engineers while like they were doing all the YouTube stuff like at the same time. So
okay.
Anyway, we need to make our own tier list, Mr. Has Been Normal.
This is my new name, Has Been Normal. I'm gonna go change my channel name, Has Been Normal. I will go get this removed and then
can you do just like a cross through it?
Yeah, I'll take a Sharpie and just
every day I reapply. Permanent ink, it's the same thing.
Okay, so is this like formal? We're gonna like have a graphic or okay?
Yes. Sorry, I forgot I had to do that. So we need to
See, our tastes in SpongeBob games are very different, so this is going to be an interesting conversation to have.
This must be unified.
Are we? Yeah, I know. I figured that. But are we including all the, like, I see, like, the GBA version and the DS version and the...
I would rather not.
I was going to say, I haven't... For the most part, I would just put those all D or lower because I don't enjoy them very much, but...
Yeah, I reckon we just don't bother. Are there any games here that we haven't played? Outside of, like, well, obviously we're not going to include, like, the DS ones, but ones that we haven't really played. So
I think we should include some of the DS ones, not necessarily the DS ports, but, like...
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Some of those are, like, original games that were only on the DS, basically. I haven't really played... I haven't really played a lot of the newer, like the later ones. Like I didn't play
this era through here.
I didn't play a lot. I didn't play Boating Bash. I didn't play Krusty Cook-Off or whatever that says. I didn't play Robotic Revenge, or Hero Pants or any.
They're honestly not
Squiggle
that
Pants.
bad. They're perfectly fine games. That was just another era of like, because that was during SpongeBob era of people just hating everything to do with SpongeBob.
I would
they were perfectly
probably
fine top-down shooter type things.
We can put them on the list, but it will probably just end up being whatever your opinion is, because I mean I've seen like gameplay of some of these, but I don't. Have
I would
to-
put them D tier. Like I wouldn't play them again. But me and my brother Aubrey played Robotic Revenge probably 3 times, just as a game that we would play while we're talking, type of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Should we do oldest to newest or newest to oldest? What would you like to do?
Let's go oldest to newest.
The oldest? Okay, so what's this one called again? I can't. It's so small. I can't read them.
Legend of the Lost Spatula, I believe.
I don't think
And
I have. I may have played like 10 minutes of it on an emulator.
that is also the case with me. I started it and I was like, oh, this is rough. And I didn't finish it. And if you'll remember when we had Mr. Jeppy, Mr. Jepta on, he talked about how he'll never play it again. So yeah.
D tier?
Yep.
D tier? Okay.
Yep.
I recently
no-
played Operation Krabby Patty though.
F tier.
There is. How do I add more tiers?
I think there's a way. Hold on. Maybe. There's got to be a way.
Add a
to
row.
add F tier.
Oh, new. Hold on. Not new. Oh fuck. Oh god. Stop it. F. Fuck. Okay.
We're just gonna edit
Cool.
this podcast to
I
just be
love-
the mistake, like just all the weird, like awkward moments. Sometimes,
Lowercase f.
sometimes I remember like a funny joke and I realize it's cut out of the final thing. I'm like, frick.
It's usually the ones. So for what the previous podcast that we did a start for an episode. It was the D&D one where we just did a really serious intro. We were like, we would like to apologize for what was said and what was done. And we went around. There was like 4 different people, and each of us did an apology. And we finished that. And we're like, okay, so if anything happens now, we're never apologizing for it. We're just going to tell people to refer back to this episode. The apology episode.
Or like there's the part where you tell me to take the lightsabers off my glasses and I flick it off, but it's like it got like the part where I actually flick it off, it's like cut there for some reason. But
Oh,
I
sorry.
thought no, I don't know why that was, but you're always harshing my funny.
Pushing my vibe. Dude.
And actually, real quick, not to derail this epic tier list, we didn't address the fact that a character for that game was announced, and it was Leonardo, and it was in fact a Ninja Turtle that was that green character. So
Yeah,
rest in peace.
My interest in that game fades every new announcement they make. I'm just like, oh, well, if they give it to me for free, I guess I'll play it. Yeah, and you're right about Sandy. You're 100% right that the barbarian character is Sandy, which is the dumbest thing ever. 'Cause, like,
yeah, I don't like I said, I was skeptical from the beginning, but
we should have known though. Nickelodeon has been obsessed with the Ninja Turtles for like the past 5 years.
well, they're one of the most popular brands ever, and I don't know when they got the rights to it, but they're gonna milk it for merchandising, obviously.
Yes, they will. Anyway, I don't
Anyway,
think Operation
SpongeBob.
Krabby Patty is that bad.
No,
I quite liked
I was
it.
joking.
Look, I'll move that to there.
I mean, I haven't played it. So the most I played it was available at my local library, because used to, back in the day, you'd go to the library and you could check out a computer and play whatever computer games they had on it here. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but I remembered because I set up that virtual machine and started playing it, and I was like, oh, I do remember this game. I played it at the library. I would say it's a solid C, personally.
I would agree with a C as well. I think it's fun now of a kind of a nostalgia thing.
I would
Nothing
say
much.
even like among the PC games, it's probably the weakest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
would put it-
good.
yeah,
but
I would agree. I think it's probably the lowest end of. It'll end up somewhere about here, maybe a high D, but yeah. Spatula. Is that Spatula? Oh, is that Super Sponge? Super Sponge.
Super Sponge. So
You probably have more opinions on this than I do. I did a
Yeah.
review back in the day, but
I have I don't know if this is the right word. Looking up definitions.
it's not. Never mind.
I guess it's sort of right. I don't know. A torrid history with Super Sponge, I guess.
Yep.
I had. It was the first SpongeBob game I had. Technically, I don't think I knew what it was back then, but I had it. I could barely get past the first level. Don't even get me started on Sandy's Treehouse. I was horrible at video games as a kid, but I loved it. I loved playing it over and over and over. Just that first level, and sometimes Sandy's Treehouse. But Sandy's Treehouse gave me panic attacks because of having to rush from pool to pool. I was horrible at that, but it ended up my copy ended up like almost breaking our PS2 because it I don't know what was wrong with it. There was something up where the disc itself was making the whole system sound like it was going to explode. And my dad ended up being like, I think we have to throw this away, and I was very upset about it. But so I have fond memories of the game as a kid, especially like the music, and I've since gone back and played it.
Well, I guess that's something we should factor in. Is
right.
These need to be games that, firstly, we have a memory of, but also games we would be like, I'll play that now, or I'll stream that now, or I'll make a video on that now. Like, it needs to still be something that we'd be like, I'm still keen.
In general, gameplay wise, it's not a good game, and the thing is, it seems like the people who were making it knew it wasn't a good game. I think we've already talked about that. They hated working on it. There's weird stuff. There's weird stuff in the files. It just wasn't designed in a good way. It seems like it was very slapped together. Even though I don't necessarily think it was. I think they just were out of their depth. And so. It hurts me to say because it holds a special place in my heart, even though I haven't even finished the game, but it's got to be like a D, in my opinion. Maybe a C just because of the music, like the sound. We use the music in our videos because I have remixes that I've had made. So
we do. I'm happy to put a low C for now, but I definitely think closer to D if it needs to drop. If we've got too much stuff in C, it can go up there. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
S tier. I mean,
can I talk you down to a A?
Let's actually have a conversation about this.
Let's have a conversation on that one. Okay.
I don't even know. What is your experience with this game? What was your first? Was it that same video? Was that the first time you realized it existed?
I played it as a kid. So as I said, my family went on a trip to Europe. And my fondest memory of that trip was going into a game store in Europe and finding it in the pre-owned section and being like, holy shit, there's another. No, actually, it wasn't even I knew about it because I owned the Scaredy Pants DVD that contained a trailer in the special features for it. So I knew about it and I finally found it. And I took it home, played it. Amazing that it actually worked. So it was also a PAL version of the game, which is kind of crazy. Played it, and I think I could never work out how to save in it, so I could never get very far.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that'll make that game a whole lot of fun.
And I don't think I ever got past. I never worked out how to talk to Larry to go to the next area. So I was only ever in that first area and Sandy's area.
Talking to Larry is late game.
So it was Bikini Bottom and Sandy's area were the two areas I played the most. And I think I got to or maybe it was talking to Patrick. I don't think I ever got to downtown.
So I was about to say, it goes from. Well, if you got to Sandy's Tree Dome, you would have had to have gone downtown.
I think I must have gone
downtown.
I'm
the Revenge of the Flying Dutchman expert here.
Because you can't go to Sandy's Tree Dome until after you've done downtown.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I may have done some stuff downtown. I think but yeah.
I believe after Sandy's Tree Dome, you go to Jellyfish Fields, and that is a very obtuse to get there, you have to find a jellyfish in Bikini Bottom that is carrying the bus ticket, And I can never, even to this day, I can never remember exactly where it spawns. I know it floats around a building somewhere, but it's
Yeah, I never got as far as that. And once again, I couldn't save. I couldn't work out how to save, so I never, like, naturally got that far. So it very quickly just went to the bottom of my playing pile. I would play the movie game or one of the Nicktoons games before that. Then I did the videos on it. I probably made like 4 or 5 videos of it over time, and I've streamed it 3 times, I think. And every time I play
ready for a 4th.
Every time I play it, I enjoy it way more as well.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a much better game than people give it credit for. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think its kind of quirkiness and its issues make it a game that's really enjoyable. And that's what makes it set apart from, say, something like I would play it over Truth or Square for the reason that Truth or Square is an incredibly, it's perfectly functioning, but that makes it incredibly bland. Like, it's a very bland experience.
Exactly. It's a very generic feeling game, Truth or Square, but we'll get to that in a second, or in a few minutes. I've never really talked about, like, I mean, I've kind of briefly mentioned it in passing, like, so I got the game for Christmas the year it came out, and I was almost immediately obsessed with it. I didn't see any flaws with it. I grew up playing N64, so, like, graphically it just looked like what I was used to, and I didn't notice, like, I know a lot of people talk about, like, the lip syncing's off and stuff like that. That's one complaint.
Also, though, as a kid, you're just like never. I grew up playing the Rugrats games on N64. Like, the games just are what they are. You're never like, oh, this game looks worse than the movie game. It's just another SpongeBob game, and you're happy to be playing it.
Yeah, you're way more willing to look past the flaws and everything. Again, I was horrible at games, so it's still like, I don't know how long it took me to actually beat the game, but I like it. Everything. I noticed the creepiness, the eeriness, like it, but it, in some ways I liked it. It was weird. I didn't really notice, oh, this is nothing like the show, like, design wise. That's another complaint I hear a lot. I played this game so much. I was obsessed with this game for many, many years. Went through multiple copies because as a kid I was always scratching up my discs and stuff. And I remember I had a similar experience where one time my mom took me to GameStop at the mall just to look for games, and we were going through the used PS2 section and just trying to find something. And she was like, oh, here's a SpongeBob game. And I was just thinking, oh, it's probably Battle for Bikini Bottom. I already have that. And then she was like, oh no, it says Revenge. And then, like, I remember looking at her eyes wide, because it's like, I loved this game and I didn't have a copy of it at that point. And I look at her eyes wide and I just snatch it out of her hands, and she's like, okay. And I'm like, I love, like, I need this. This is it. We're like, so I've gone through multiple copies, and since making my video on it and kind of seeing all the hatred, but also kind of people coming around on it since my video, I can see its flaws, obviously. I mean, it has flaws, but I still just, it's just, I don't know if it's because I grew up with it or what, but it sounds like even you said, as you play through it more and more, you kind of come around on it more and more. And I've never had a bad time playing through it. I mean, so I will say I've experienced the crashing glitch before when literally on stream on my channel, and that was frustrating. Which it was. I've even had it crash on GameCube, which they say it doesn't happen on GameCube, but I had it happen once, and I don't know what caused it. But anyways, all that to say is, A is fine. I mean, I would even be willing to compromise on a B, but
I think I'm happy for it there. I mean, also for me, like, I always use it whenever I load up, like, Dolphin again to mess around with that. I'll always download Revenge of the Flying Dutchman just to see how far, because every time I get like new PC components, like a new graphics card or something, I won't download modern games. I'll download Dolphin again and download a bunch of old games to see how hard I can push them. I think I always do it with Revenge of the Flying Dutchman to see, can I do it 4K? Can I do it 60 FPS? Can I do it with like all these extra things? And the game looks like great with that. So
Yeah.
all right. Now we move to my albatross.
Okay. I was gonna say real quick, just like it's also just interesting to me, like, and this is something I'll talk about in the future as well, but like the dev team were really just trying to do their own thing with the loose source material, and I think something about it, some people don't like it, but something about it just makes it feel a little bit special in that way, I guess. I don't know, but
it almost feels indie in a way.
Yeah.
Compared to other ones. Employee of the month.
Now I actually have thoughts now because I've played a good 2-3 hours of Employee of the Month in like the last year. So
We're going to do a video
curious.
at some stage. We've got AWE to cover.
Yep. That maybe that'll be after Truth or Square. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So you said that your albatross. What are your thoughts?
3D platforming was never the correct genre for SpongeBob.
Well, I muted to cough and then I unmuted as I coughed. Because I was like gonna be like, I still don't agree, but okay.
SpongeBob is not fucking Spyro, okay?
But he could.
It's fine that they've done the
I have a
3D
thought.
platformers.
I have a
It's
thought.
fine that they've done it.
All
It
right.
did not need to become the standard for every game SpongeBob is to be a 3D platform.
All right, tease for my upcoming video that I'm working on right now. In the original pitch document for Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, they start out by saying this game is going to be Crash Bandicoot meets Ape Escape, and then in another document they change that to Super Mario 64 meets Ape Escape, and then in another document they say no, this is going to be Super Mario 64 meets Spyro. And that and just you saying it doesn't need to be Spyro, it's like immediately they were like, this is gonna be Spyro. But
I love point and click adventure games, and I think this is the perfect way to do an actual SpongeBob story and an actual SpongeBob game, is being able to explore Bikini Bottom in its original art style. The perfect drawn backgrounds.
I've always found the art
models are
style of those
weird.
Oh, okay, models, yeah, sure.
The 3D models aren't perfect, but the backgrounds are perfect. Picking up of all the items. All of the voice actors are there.
So
checking that out.
They're also there in Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. No.
Yeah. I think it's actually like there is nothing
for
wrong
a
with it.
PC
It is
SpongeBob
perfect.
game, I think it's perfect. Obviously, a point-and-click SpongeBob game would not have worked on the consoles.
No.
Except now, of all times, they should bring it back because we got Joy-Con 2 mouse controls.
We have drift confirmed on Switch 2.
Actually, that's a thought. THQ Nordic should go back and redo
Do a PC
Operation
collection?
Krabby Patty and Employee of the Month and smack it on Switch 2 there, just because now they have mouse controls that they can.
That would be cool.
Use.
I wouldn't be against that at all. But yeah.
Well, actually,
I think it's
a few years ago, some guy from AWE Games reached out to me and was telling me that they're remaking all their games and that they were interested in having me talk about it. It didn't end up going anywhere, but
Well, it's good to know something like that's in the works. So what I'm saying is S tier.
listen. Okay, so here's my thought.
Present one counterpoint, please.
I feel like real quick I need to mention that was the thing I just talked about. That was a joke. That did not. I mean, it happened, but it was a whole thing. That's not real. Anyways, I've played it now. I enjoy it for what it is, but I would I just can't. I can't. I don't know. You could put it. What are my thoughts here? I said I actually have thoughts because I've played it now, but like my thoughts are just like, yeah, it's a decent game. I mean, I feel like this is the way I feel. The way I feel about this game is probably how you feel about Battle for Bikini Bottom in the first place.
Yeah, well, obviously, so I played it as a kid, and I really enjoyed it as a kid, but I enjoy it more now than I did as a kid, actually, because I miss point-and-click adventure games, and I really like the genre.
And maybe that's what it is I did not grow up with that genre. Mr. Jephthah and Pladley did, and I played some of them at their house, but just was never something I never really had the opportunity to play them. And growing up and playing it now, it's just like, yeah, it's a decent game. There's a certain charm to it. There's some weird stuff in it. Like, am I misremembering? I feel
the cola battle?
I don't remember that. I don't know how far I got. I think I got up to a round where you meet Larry at Goo Lagoon, and he's just constantly like pumping iron there. But I feel like I remember going to the grocery store and Mr. Krabs is like naked or something. Am I misremembering?
Yeah, he sold everything.
Okay, that's what. It's a weird game. And then like Patrick is like wearing a whole outfit with a camera at a bus stop.
Yeah, and he won the Bikini Bottom's best bikini competition. He had the most unique figure.
I feel like I'm gonna need like more than this is the best medium for SpongeBob games to say, oh, this is S tier.
Let me have a look. I
didn't prepare to
employee of the month. Let me just
express myself eloquently as far as my critiques of various SpongeBob games today. That's one thing is like music-wise, nothing stands out in my mind.
But the good thing that I use it all the time because it's SpongeBob music that isn't copyright protected. So it's the closest you can get to actual mainline SpongeBob music that you can use in YouTube videos without any risk of copyright.
Well, a lot of the SpongeBob music that is like in the original show, I'm pretty sure was like public domain to begin with. At least some of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I've used proper SpongeBob music in the past, and I've gotten copyright claims.
You should check and what I've noticed as far as like copyright claims on music on YouTube is oftentimes they are bogus claims made by people who are trying to game the system and steal people's money. I've had that happen. Some guy claimed "You've Got a Friend in Me" on my Toy Story 2 stuff. But it was not Disney. It was just some random name, and I looked into the guy, and he's like a total psychopath. He rants on Twitter about how he's written all these, like he believes that he's written all these famous songs, and that all these famous people owe him all this money, and it's a whole rabbit hole. And I thought about making a video about it, but I'm not into the drama side of YouTube, so I did not.
No,
do that,
yeah.
But.
So I will say, just writing-wise as well, I don't think any of the other SpongeBob games come anywhere as close to the writing, like comedy-wise, because
I guess that's fair. When I think about SpongeBob games, I'm not thinking about a deep story, but I guess if you're looking for a deep SpongeBob story in a video game, yeah, I mean, you can't really beat that game probably, but
because that's the argument I've always come out with is a good licensed game should be a good representation of the media that it is licensed from.
Right. I don't necessarily think it needs I don't know. I've never personally felt like it needed that deep of a story, but I'm also in video games in general, I'm not really that invested in story. I'm more invested in the gameplay elements of things, but
so you don't think an S tier?
I was gonna say I would compromise at a high A for now, and then we could maybe move it up if we.
All right. That Bikini Bottom. Should we do
F.
Bikini Bottom and the movie game as like
F.
a conjoined thing? They're the same
F.
game. F. I'm happy
No.
to put an F. Moving on.
I would say they're not. I know because they're not the same game. I mean, they have
Different enough?
similar elements, but they're drastically different games when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know how I mean, personally, I would actually put it like for my. I mean, obviously, I think it's the highest quality as far as the 3D platformers are concerned. You
Not
talk
anymore,
about,
though. Not anymore.
I mean, of that era.
Of its
Like-
era, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know.
Let's pull out. Let's pull out Rehydrate as well, because they're interesting to talk about in comparison with each other,
Right,
and where we'll
yeah.
put them.
I remember when this game came out, the first one. I wasn't that. I don't know why. I saw the commercials on TV. I think whatever commercial I saw, like, it was during some time limit segment, and I was like, I don't like that. And I wasn't interested in playing it because I hated time limits in games. But then, like, this was back when Blockbuster still existed, boys and
Hell
girls.
yeah.
Of this generation. I'm curious, do kids fully understand what Blockbuster was? I don't know. But my dad went to Blockbuster and rented some games. I think he probably rented like Hitman.
Hell yeah.
This was probably when I got traumatized. If you want that story, go watch my video. But and then he was like, and I got this SpongeBob game for you. And I was like, and I was like, what? And he said, oh, I got this new Battle for Bikini Bottom for you, so you can play it. And I was like, I was probably like playing Revenge of the Flying Dutchman in the moment. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to play that. I don't know if I care. I just was not interested. I don't know why. And I ended up playing it and realized, I was like, holy frick, this game is amazing. Like I mean, like, gameplay wise, environment wise, it was just such a step up as far as like graphically from Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. And it also had a totally different tone, a certain charm to it. A lot of like my fond memories kind of tie back to like the environment design in games. So like I really love like Mario Kart 64 because of the way the environments look for some reason. I really liked Piglet's Big Game because of all it almost looked like something that I would want to like physically touch, I guess. That doesn't really make sense, but
The spiky geometry of Mario Kart 64.
I want to touch the tree. I want to take a tree from
caress
Mario Kart
Toad's
64 and stick it in my mouth. But the story was also interesting. I liked the robots because I was a kid and they seemed so cool or whatever. And the combat in Revenge of the Flying Dutchman was practically non-existent, so it was very different in that regard as well.
Yep.
And I don't know, it was another game over the years where I just got sucked into it more and more. It took years before I actually owned a copy of it because we just kept renting it from Blockbuster. At one point we kept it so long that like it wasn't even worth it to return it because of all the late fees or whatever. And I remember
when Blockbuster closed, there was like a closing account thing for us where there was like, so you have an outstanding copy of Chainsaw Massacre that's been out for 4 years, and Dad was like, no, that wouldn't be us. And then he slowly turned to my older brother, and my brother was like, I think maybe my friend took that out on our card.
That's crazy. I don't know what it is.
It's like, yes, wow, that's crazy.
Like I said, I'm not the best at representing my thoughts here in the moment right now. But
well, what I think we'll do is because out of time, we'll probably split this in half. So we'll kind of finish this off with maybe the movie game, and then we can kind of come back next week and readjust, address a few points with it.
Sure.
I think so. I played it later in life. I didn't play it as a kid.
Yeah.
I grew up playing the movie game, and the best way that I would describe it is when I played it, it had been talked up so much by YouTubers and all that. When I played it, I was like, this is kind of disappointing. Because I grew up with the movie game that was just so bloody hard. And the only time that I was ever like, oh, this is actually really fun, is when I played the dream sequence stuff. I was like, this is the game that I know. This is the stuff that I like. The rest of it was just slow, and it felt really like... It felt like almost a beta to what the movie game was, with the cooler attacks and all that. I wasn't a big fan of any of Sandy's stuff. And it felt like Sandy wasn't necessary.
I thought she was like the best character.
The driving segments, the stuff that I loved in the movie game, was non-existent. The sliding was better, I would say. The sliding was better for Bikini Bottom than the movie game. But the bean one in the Kelp Forest was awful. I hated it. All of Kelp Forest was bad. The bosses weren't as fun.
Kelp Forest was certainly difficult. I'm sorry. Hold on. The bosses in Battle for Bikini Bottom are some of my favorite boss. They were
compared to the giant fish.
I just see. That's what I'm saying. It's like no. I don't agree with that at all. Like, obviously, I mean, some things would have had to be improved. Although they didn't have a ton of time because they made these games like back to back. I think for one, it's one of those things where I don't love the way that YouTube has kind of like built this game up to mythical status necessarily. I do think it's a game that deserves respect, but also at the same time, it's like we kind of put it up on this pedestal, and it I don't know. It doesn't.
What I will say is, I respected the game a lot more when Rehydrated came out. Because I was like, why would I ever play Rehydrated when I can just load up an emulator and play the original that's better?
Right.
That's when I was like, the original is actually worth something, when Rehydrated came out.
And, like, when comparing it to the movie game, it's like, they are, in my mind, completely different games. There's elements that are the same. Mechanically, it's very similar, but, like, design-wise, they're all, like this game has a hub world, and it's like an explorable hub world where you can find secrets and stuff. The movie game just has a menu that you navigate.
Yeah. That's true.
They kind of added in the like you said, like you can upgrade your moves and stuff, which was an interesting addition, but it didn't necessarily add anything to me personally. I felt like the movie game, because the movie game had to follow the movie, it was very limited in its experimentation, I guess. Like they implemented the driving segments because the movie had driving. All the worlds are very dark and gloomy because that's the way that the movie was. I didn't love the driving, but part of me as a kid, I never really loved driving. I appreciate them more today, but it also feels like it's hard to control that stupid burger. And there are parts of the movie game
they could have done more with it. They could have done more with it. Like, they could have had Sandy be playable back in Bikini Bottom and see, like, all the Planktopler stuff from her side of things.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
like the worst level of Battle Bikini Bottom is, the Kelp Forest level.
Kelp Forest, it was tough. Like, there's a lot of parts in there that I don't love, and the sliding segment with where Mermaid Man has you slide down all these freaking ropes or whatever. Yeah, that is still impossible. I would say, in my opinion, Rock Bottom is worse. But I just
really, because I was going to compare that to the Dump instead, because Rock Bottom in my mind is absolute peak. Rock Bottom, in my mind, is one of my favorite levels in the entire game, and getting down there as well, the sliding. But I will say that the dump level is worse than Kelp Forest.
Dump level.
Where you're going around destroying the big TVs, they're doing the propaganda. And
that's I know what you're talking about. That is also that's a kind of interesting because in my mind I compare that level to Rock Bottom with some of the way it does things. Like the sleepy time robots. I feel like there's something similar in that dump level.
Can't quite recall. It has been a little while.
It's been a while since I played it. I mean, honestly, probably the last time I played it was before I talked about it for your video for the Hydrate relief. So it's been many years. But
with Rock Bottom though, the reason why that one is better is the final upgrades of a lot of the attacks and stuff are worse than the middle upgrades. And during that stage, you have all middle upgrades, so gameplay is actually a lot more fun because you don't have the weird worse level up stuff. So combat is actually a lot more fun at that stage compared to the dump level where you're like, everything just explodes now and I've got the guitar that I can't control.
Well, I was talking about Rock Bottom in Battle for Bikini Bottom. You're probably thinking like I don't know what we're talking.
Sorry, yes, Rock Bottom, the bottom of the trench.
Oh, see, I hated that level.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Yeah.
I absolutely hated the Now That We're Men trench level. It again, all those things that, like, I don't love lava worlds, and it very much felt like a lava world in a lot of ways, and I felt like I kept getting lost. It's the same problem I have with, like, I do not really enjoy The Empire Strikes Back, even though it's considered to be the best one by a lot of the fanboys, because it's such a dark movie. It feels like it's mostly in space or on Dagobah, and it's like I don't love the aesthetic of just dark. I kind of had the same issue with Revenge of the Sith, even though I love Revenge of the Sith. It's like for some reason, if a movie or a game looks like dark colors, gritty or whatever, it's not my favorite. That's just a weird mental thing for me. And so a lot of the levels in the movie game feel like that. And that's not, I mean, like, I'm Ready Depression is one of my favorite SpongeBob video game levels of all time. I don't know why.
It is very good, yeah.
I guess for one, I love Candy Worlds and stuff, and there's that's basically the aesthetic there.
I do have one more point as well. The movie game has better returnability for its levels. So the levels aren't as expansive, but as you gain new abilities, there is better stuff to return to previous levels to do, and there are more sections. So like when you unlock the guitar that lets you unlock like further away buttons, it unlocks whole areas of the map that previously weren't available to you.
Some people
way
don't like
more
that.
Impressive in that regard.
Some people hate backtracking. And also, like, what is the point of backtracking in that game also? Because, I mean, you can find the secret chests, I guess, but I don't know.
I just think because people criticize it for being more, there's
segmented.
Less expansive movement, it's more segmented. But it's like, yes, but they did the absolute best they could within that frame, which is give you lots of reasons to return to levels, hidden areas, all that type of stuff. Like, they packed the small levels with more content.
One thing that I really like about the movie game is the little portals that take you to, like, the floating block challenges or the SpongeBob stuff.
Yeah. The floating block stuff, that music, and the stuff that seared in my brain.
Every time I order new music, which, by the way, I have new music ordered, I always think, I'm like, I need to do floating block challenge. Like, I need to do that music, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but it might be my next order. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Battle for Bikini Bottom has the better soundtrack, in my opinion. A lot of the movie game soundtrack is like kind of ambient, or like it. I really don't like the music in the what's it called? The tough guy place. I can't think what it's called. Bubble Blow and Baby Hunt or whatever.
Yeah.
it's like heavy metal, and I just don't love that sound. Yeah, exactly.
But once again, that comes down to the usability. I use movie game music way more because it's ambient and I can put it in the background way easier. And it's not just immediately, it's Bikini Bottom music in the comments. It's like, oh, that's just like
I guess that's
SpongeBob
just
music.
Different taste. I don't know. I much prefer the because I mean that's the thing is it's like those tracks are iconic. Like people will recognize them. Whereas like if you showed me Sandwich Driving 101 music, I probably wouldn't pick up on it right away. Eventually I'd get it, but I prefer the I'm Ready Depression, that track.
That's great. You drop the sliding music in the club, everybody's bopping. And you can even have Plankton doing his announcements over the top. So, do we put them like? Are we thinking B for both? Because I wouldn't put Bikini Bottom in A. I would be more putting it towards probably a C, honestly.
I would put Battle for. I was gonna say because of the way you feel, and also honestly the way I feel about it, because it's like some days maybe I would say it's my favorite SpongeBob game, but I feel like I feel pressured to say that because of the discourse, and that's kind of why I said I don't love the way that YouTube has put it up on a pedestal. I would probably put it at a B, personally.
I'm happy to put the movie game behind it. I'm happy to admit that it is a harder to like experience.
And
I'd be happy for that or a C. Yeah,
I didn't love it nearly as much. I would for now leave it at a low B.
Okay.
And real quick, we talked about Rehydrated a little bit. It's the worst version. It's the modern version that you can still buy and play now without the secondhand market, but it's got a lot of problems, and that could be a whole video unto itself about the issues with that game.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing of like when you do a remaster or a remake, it's meant to be the definitive version. And if the definitive version is lacking in areas the original wasn't, is no longer the definitive version, and therefore kind of doesn't have a reason to exist.
And it felt like Purple Lamp's practice run, basically.
Yeah.
They made all these promises about restoring cut content and then kind of backtracked on that.
Yeah.
They pretended like they didn't backtrack on it, but they absolutely did. They were like, oh, no. We always meant for it to be like generic multiplayer mode that really sucks. Like, no, that was not what was promised. They were like, we're going to do all this. And then I think whether it was time or budget, Nickelodeon, something happened where they were like, oh, frick, we shouldn't have promised this. Let's churn out this basic multiplayer mode so that we don't get in trouble for lying or whatever. But all that to say, I would put Rehydrated in D.
Yeah, I think I'll agree. We'll get there with that one. But yeah, no, I definitely
I just
think
thought we were going to rank it now because we were talking.
You want to rank it now? Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
we'll get there. Okay.
Yeah.
Personally, I would 100% agree. To me, it feels very much like a 2015 game, not a 2020 game. It feels very much of that era of Xbox 360 type of content.
I don't know if
quality.
I'd even say that, but yeah. It feels almost lower quality than some of those. But
yeah, in some ways, and I'm still iffy on the art style. I think the art style that they use in Cosmic Shake works a lot better. I don't think that's not SpongeBob to me. That's you've watched the Spyro reignited too many times, and you think that's.
I
What
remember
everything needs to
getting
be.
emotional when I first saw like Jellyfish Fields looking like that. Like the environments look. There was a time where I liked it, and then as the rose tinting kind of faded away, I was like, yeah, this is just a worse experience.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then Cosmic Shake, I think, is a really happy medium between it. I feel like it's a lot more because it's more toned back. It works a lot better, personally. And I honestly can't remember what Patrick even looks like.
What do you mean?
What the game looks like.
Oh, it looks funky. Like some of those like we talked about how weird the models were in Employee of the Month. The SpongeBob model in the Patrick Star game,
Looks interesting.
he looks like he needs help.
Very squashed.
It's not just the squat. It's like the eye. Something was wrong there.
Something's funky. Anyway, we might call that one there just for time-wise. But those are some of the big heavy hitters, realistically. I'm interested to see what we both think of Atlantis SquarePants and some of those kind of lesser-known ones.
I need to go back. I haven't played Atlantis since. That was another one I rented from Blockbuster when it came out. I never really owned it.
I streamed it recently.
Recently? How recently?
Like 2 years ago.
I was going to say, I feel like you haven't streamed in I don't know how long. I used to pop in and I was like, oh, he's streaming. I'm going to go say hi.
I stream on Twitch, dude. I stream on Twitch.
Oh, maybe that's why. I don't know. You used to stream on YouTube.
Yeah, I dropped that YouTube. But yeah, no. So there's some interesting ones here, and we've been talking about Truth or Square as well. Which, okay, yeah, it is there. But there's some interesting ones. Like as you said, you haven't played Boating Bash. I've got some positive.
I watched
things to say about
Riders
Boating
play
Bash.
it back around when we were doing relief stuff. But it kind of just reminded me of some Lights Camera Pants mini game, like that. The whole it felt like a Lights Camera Pants mini game, and it like expanded into a whole thing.
That's actually a pretty fair way of looking at it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for coming along for this little run through of a tier list. It's good fun. We haven't done something like this yet.
We've talked about it. We talked about like ranking the season 1 of SpongeBob and other stuff like that. And
yes,
we just haven't gotten to it. So
absolutely,
we'll do that eventually.
We'll do that eventually. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Who Needs No One, for joining me.
Thank you for carrying this channel on your back up a mountain with your investigation videos, because now we're approaching that big 1,000 now.
We almost did that big 1,000 in what is this episode 9? I think 9 weeks.
Is it? It feels like we've gone even longer than that. But maybe.
Or is this episode 10? We just hit the big 10.
I can't find my cursor. I'm trying to pull it up.
I was literally doing the same thing. I was like, which of my 3 monitors is this shit on?
Cause now we're turning forward all the clocks, and we learn from all we watched. Cause now we ain't Rugrats, man. We all grown up, but we still screaming SpongeBob, Johnny Bravo kicking by the beach bar, TJ making me feel like a